Hi trade family, I'm currently sitting in front of my favorite coffee shop downtown, so sorry if this is a little weird, a little weirdly filmed, oddly filmed, and I'm talking kind of quiet because I'm talking to my headphones and I'm in public right now. But I wanted to let you know before we get started that today's video is sponsored by UpStryve. I know I've mentioned them before, but this is a perfect video for them to be sponsoring because it is a tutoring, study, trade related video, obviously. If this video does not extrapolate enough, go ahead and check out UpStryve. They're a one-on-one tutoring service for people in the trade such as yourself, looking to pass their journeyman's exams, their contractor's licenses, needing mentorship, etc., things like that. It's all online, it's all around your schedule. They are just like super trade positive, super trade friendly, so check them out. All of that is going to be in the description down below. All right, I love you, appreciate you, thank you so much for watching. Hi everyone, my name is Anna, also known as the Plumbing Princess. For those of you that don't know me, I am a second-year plumbing apprentice in the state of Nevada. For those of you that do know me, hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. So I'm super excited to get started and dive into the code book. To clear up the confusion, this is going to be going over the 2018 Uniform Plumbing Code. If you have a code book that is newer, it should pretty much still apply, or even if it is a little older, I wouldn't get a code book that's more than a few years old. But if you have the new UPC book, or maybe the book that was published before this one, I can't remember which one that is, I don't know the year of that one, you should be a-okay to go ahead and follow along. So what I had originally wanted to do in this series was to simply read the code book. After sitting down and doing some studying and talking with my dad, who is a master plumber as well as my mentor, as well as the person teaching me the trade, he said that that is, for one, incredibly boring, which is true, and for two, it is absolutely not necessary, because there are parts of the code book that the test doesn't even touch on. Maybe one question they might throw in there to throw you off, but as far as your licensing, your journeyman's exam for plumbing, not everything in the code book is necessary to read and go over. There are things that are much more important than other things. Obviously, they put these codes into place for every scenario or any situation that we might have come across in the past. These codes are pretty much rules and guidelines that plumbers have to follow. So having a general understanding of the code book and how it works is incredibly important, and that's the foundation that I want to hopefully build, not only for myself, because I am still an apprentice and I am still learning, but also for those watching. So, maybe we can go ahead and do that together. So instead of reading the code book word for word, I thought it would be a much better and much more productive use of time to instead go through practice exams, and I have the full comprehensive practice exam package. I have lots of them. It's a very thick folder. It's hefty. And I not only have the practice exams for all of the chapters, I also have 3 practice general exams. And I'm going to be sharing every single one of these with all of my viewers. If you wanted to get these for yourself, you can through the IAPMA website. I can link that description down below. However, it does cost money, so for those on a budget and for those taking their time to study, this is going to be a perfect alternative. You can access the code book online for free, again, through the IAPMA website. They do allow you to read it online in a PDF version for free. You can do that through your cell phone, your computer, your tablet, basically any device that supports an internet browser. If you want a hard copy version of the code book, whether it's like in binder form like mine is, or an actual hard pressed copy or a spiral version, there are different prices, but I believe mine, the binder version, which I prefer, cost me like $180, so a little bit heftier. However, it is incredibly important. If you're going to take anything out of this series, I would, my biggest recommendation to you would be to get a hard copy code book, not just for this series, but for yourself. Take it with you to work. Read it, study it, look over it before and after work, on your lunch breaks, on the weekends when you have downtime. fall asleep reading it, just have it with you, start getting familiar with the code. It's not about memorizing the code book from beginning cover to end cover. It's about familiarizing yourself with the code. So biggest takeaway is don't worry about, going on the IATMA website and getting these practice exams. Worry more about getting a code book. And if you have money to do all of that, sick. If you don't have money to do any of that, you can get the code book online and you can follow along with me as we go through these practice tests and practice general exams as well. I will not be going through each entire practice exam per episode. There will be part 1s, part 2s, etc. The reason why is because some of these practice exams have a lot of questions. Some of them have like 60 questions, 80 questions, and that's a lot to go over. It's a lot to go through. I hope to publish these videos frequently, so that way we can stay on track. Everybody's on the same page. So I'm hoping to do, let's just say 10 questions a video and go from there. To get started, if you haven't already, go ahead and pause this video and read through chapter 1. You don't have to read it word for word. If you prefer to skim through it to get a general understanding of what this chapter is about, that is perfectly fine. I would recommend that you read it if you have the time to. Of course, not everybody can have that sort of time. The biggest thing is I would get familiar with the titles of each section. So for example, and this, I hope everybody has their code book in front of them. If not, go ahead and you can pull it up on, a tablet or maybe a separate computer, or if you're watching this on your phone, you get what I mean. Have your code book in front of you because we're going to be doing this together. As I was saying, get familiar with the names of each section. So like I said, for example, like 101.1 right here, 101.1 general, title, scope, purpose, you get what I'm saying. 102 applicability. You get familiar with the titles of each section because knowing every section word for word isn't going to be necessary. You're going to want to start memorizing where each section might be to give you an understanding of where you might find the answer to these questions. So as I was doing this, I basically had pieces of paper, lined paper, to write down my answers. And as I write down my answers, I prefer to put the page number where I found my answer and also the section number. Also, I have a highlighter on hand as well, so then that way I can highlight the sections in the code book where I found these specific answers to refer back to. So with that being said, let's fully get started. So chapter 1, administration. I'm going to put the questions down below as a picture. So beforehand, and I'm going to keep it up on the screen so you can just follow along with me here. So it says here, the questions found in this chapter are designed to test your knowledge in the enforcement requirements of the Uniform Plumbing Code. These requirements include the duties and powers of the authority having jurisdiction, permit issuance, inspections, and exempt work, along with requirements for existing plumbing systems. So, if you haven't already skimmed through the chapter, go ahead and pause, skim, read, whatever, through chapter 1 administration right now. So now that you are familiar with chapter 1, you've skimmed through it, or maybe you have already read through it, let's get going. So number 1, this document shall be known as the A, Uniform Plumbing Code, B, Universal Plumbing Code, C, National Plumbing Code, or D, World Plumbing Code. So scrolling through this chapter, I don't want to say scrolling through, reading through this chapter, you will see that in the very first paragraph on page number 1 under general, and then right after that title 101.1, it states here, this document shall be known as the, in quotations, Uniform Plumbing Code, may be cited as such, and will be referred to herein as this code. So the answer to question number 1 is A, which is Uniform Plumbing Code. When you refer to this code book, you refer to it as the Uniform Plumbing Code. Now, there are other states that have the International Plumbing Code, so just like I said, make sure that you are double checking to see what your state requires for their code book. So, Number 2, the blank may require the submission of plans, specifications, drawings, and such other information prior to the commencement of work regulated by this code. Number 2 is C, authority having jurisdiction. You can find that on page number 2 in section 103.3. We can go ahead and I'm going to just read the first paragraph of this section. 103.3, applications and permits. The authority having jurisdiction shall be permitted to require the submission of plans, specifications, drawings, and such other information in accordance with the authority having jurisdiction prior to the commencement of and at a time during the progress of work related by this code. So to go back to it again, the C, authority having jurisdiction, may require the submission of plans, specifications, drawings, and such other information prior to the commencement of work regulated by this code. So quick pause. As we go through this, I really highly encourage you to pause the video before I just announce the answer, and I challenge you to find the answer yourself, to find it on your own. And most of these questions that we go through literally will be word for word pulled from the code book itself, as you have probably already noticed in these last 2 questions. For example, this document shall be known as the A, Uniform Plumbing Code, and it says that word for word in the chapter. It should not be too difficult to find the answers to most of these questions. To do that, like I said, just get familiar with the names of each section, and when you see a keyword that pops out at you, for example, this document shall be known as the, okay, when you say, okay, the document shall be known, oh, I remember reading that in the very first section of the code book. Let me just go back over there and double check and see if maybe the answer is there. Get familiar with each section, so that way you can hopefully try to remember to reference back to it to find these answers. So as I was saying, I challenge you to pause the video at each question and find it for yourself. Write it down, see if you got it right. If you did, pat yourself on the back, and if you didn't, just go ahead and correct yourself as we move on to the next thing. You're not going to learn anything if you don't actually go out and seek it for yourself. I can sit here and give you the answers to these questions all day long, and that's perfectly fine, but it's not going to benefit you in any way, shape, or form if you're not actually learning, if you're not actually taking the time to seek it out, to teach yourself how to become familiar with the code, and to memorize the code and get better at it so that way you can pass your journeyman's exams. All right, let's continue on. Number 3, the provisions of blank shall apply to the erection, installation, alteration, repair, relocation, replacement, addition to, use, or maintenance of plumbing systems within this jurisdiction. The answer to number 3 is A, this code, the provisions of this code. And you can find that on page 1 in section 101.2 under scope. The provisions of this code shall apply to the erection, installation, alteration, repair, relocation, replacement, addition to, use, or maintenance of plumbing systems within this jurisdiction. Question number 4. All openings into a drainage or vent system, except those openings to which plumbing fixtures are properly connected or that consume vent terminals, shall be permanently plugged or capped blank in accordance with this code. Number 4, the answer to number 4 is C. That's going to be found on page 1 under section 102.4.2. The title of it being openings. Openings into a drainage or vent system, except those openings to which plumbing fixtures are properly connected or which constitute vent terminals, shall be permanently plugged or capped in an approved manner, using the appropriate materials in accordance with this code. Question number 5. The blank shall be responsible for maintenance of plumbing systems. The answer to question number 5 is C. owner or owner's agent. And you can find that on page 1 in section 102.3. And under section 102.3, where you find that answer, the title of this section being maintenance, it's the second paragraph, and it says, the owner or the owner's designated agent shall be responsible for maintenance of plumbing systems. To determine compliance with this subsection, the authority having jurisdiction shall be permitted to cause a plumbing system to be re-inspected. Number 6. Plumbing systems lawfully in existence at the time of the adoption of this code shall be permitted to have their use, maintenance, or repair continued as long as the original design has no hazard blank created by such plumbing system. The answer to number 6 is D, meaning as long as the original design has no hazard to life, health, or property created by such plumbing systems. And you can find the answer to that on page 1 in section 102.2 under existing installations. Plumbing systems lawfully in existence at the time of the adoption of this code shall be permitted to have their use, maintenance, or repair continued where the use, maintenance, or repair is in accordance with the original design and location, and no hazard to life, health, or property has been created by such plumbing systems. Question number 7. When the requirements within the jurisdiction of this plumbing code conflict with the requirements of the mechanical code, blank shall prevail. The question to number 7 is B, this code, meaning when the requirements within the jurisdiction of this plumbing code conflict with the requirements of the mechanical code, this code shall prevail. And you can find the answer to this question on page number 1 in section 102.1, conflicts between codes, where the requirements within the jurisdiction of this plumbing code conflict with the requirements of the mechanical code, this code shall prevail. Question number 8. Plumbing systems that are a part of a building or structure undergoing a change in use or occupancy, as defined by the building code, shall be in accordance with the requirements of blank that are applicable to the new use or occupancy. The answer to this question is B, this code shall be in accordance with the requirements of this code that are applicable to the new use or occupancy. You can find the answer to number 8 on page 1 in section 102.6, changes in building occupancy. Plumbing systems that are a part of a building or structure undergoing a change in use or occupancy, as defined in the building code, shall be in accordance with the requirements of this code that are applicable to the new use or occupancy. Number 9. Parts of the plumbing system of a building or part thereof that is moved from one foundation to another or from one location to another shall be in accordance with the provision of blank for new installations. The answer to number 9 is C, this code shall be in accordance with the provisions of this code for new installations. You can find the answer to number 9 on page 1 in section 102.7, moved structures. Parts of the plumbing system of a building or part thereof that is moved from one foundation to another or from one location to another shall be in accordance with the provisions of this code for new installations and completely tested as prescribed elsewhere in this section for new work, except that walls or floors need not be removed during such test, where other equivalent means of inspection acceptable to the authority having jurisdiction are provided. And last question for this introductory video to Chapter 1 Administration is question number 10. Question number 10 is the blank shall be the authority duly appointed to enforce this code. The answer to question number 10 is A, the authority having jurisdiction. And you can find that on page 2 in section 103.1 under general. The authority having jurisdiction shall be the authority duly appointed to enforce this code. All right, so that is part 1 of chapter 1, administration of the UPC code. We are going through this practice exam together. I am giving you the questions as well as the answers. I hope that you guys were pausing the video before I stated the answer so you could go through the code book and find it yourself. If you were not doing that, remember you are just simply cheating yourself out of the fun of learning the code on your own, the satisfaction and victory of getting those answers correct, and not being lazy and allowing me to just give you the answers. I highly, highly, highly encourage you to pause the video and find those answers on your own before I go ahead and give them to you. Thank you again, everybody, for following along. Please, please, please leave recommendations as to how I can improve this. If you would like me to take more time, if you would like me to read slower, if you would like me to read faster, if there's anything that you feel would be helpful for me to extrapolate on as I go through these questions with you and answers. And yeah, I hope that all of this has been super helpful. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It just makes my day knowing that I'm spreading the word of the trades to everybody around the world, and hopefully helping people get closer to their goals as a tradesperson. Please keep an eye out for these videos. They are going to be flooding here in the future. I have so much time now. I'm definitely ready to do a video a week. Again, thank you everybody for watching today. I hope everybody has a super wonderful day, and I will see everybody later. Bye!